Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the PML Wrestling Show. As always, it's the PML crew: Rich Lopez, Tom Malloy, a.k.a. Homeboy Malloy, a.k.a. Brewster's Millions. And the reason why I say that,
Millions, yeah, boy.
because this right here is
Right
the
here,
Malloy
man.
drink. And he didn't want me to taste it live because he knows I'm not an ale guy. But I did taste it right before we went on. And here's proof that I'm going to taste it again. And I told him I'm not an ale guy, so I'm the second person to have this or first?
You're the first.
All right,
Besides myself, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was saying I'm not the ale guy. I'm more of the. I forgot he was giving me a taste. I brought the Bud Light, but it's actually not bad. So if you do like ales, this is pretty good, man. I could drink this. I'm gonna drink it throughout the show to prove that I can drink this.
Nice.
But no, it's not bad at all. This is actually kind of. Sorry, it reminds me a little bit of the. Obviously, not giving you this much praise, but I do love you. But aftertaste for me, it reminds me of the Austin beer.
Yeah.
Just because it's not, for me, it's not powerful.
I think because it's not as so it's kind of gross, but you're gonna because it's not pasteurized, the beer.
Yeah.
You might get some glumps in there of
whatever.
like leftover malt. It is.
Okay.
So that's why I put it in a glass because it strains it. Because I was washing out my other bottles upstairs, and I had two of them on. I just had to make sure the first one was okay. The second one was a little bit better. These ones, I think they were capped better.
Yeah.
But we washed it out. And I was like, ew, what the fuck? What was that? What was that?
Good cover.
And I kept looking. I was like, oh. And then I was reading online. So I was like, what is that? Why is that? They're like, oh, it's just it's leftover residue. It's all good. It's just from the way you cooked it.
It's all good. But yeah, for aftertaste wise, it's what it kind of reminds me of where I could have you know me, I've done tastings with you before. You buy the 4-packs, I'll just have the beer. And I'm like, you can have the rest. I'm not really into it. But the Austin one, I could drink the 4-pack of. The Drunkaroos that you told me about, I could have. This is one of them that I think I could actually have. So
yeah, I think I'm going to try to make another one before the holidays. I don't know if I'm going to do a lager yet or a pale ale. I really like pale ale, so I might do that.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
But
you're a huge pale ale guy.
But I want to, for the spring, because it's, relaxing, make, a sour. You'd really like that. It would be
Oh, yeah, you've been telling me that for months.
Yeah, it's a sweeter beer. You cook it with more sugar and everything else. So, yeah, so that's my plan. I want to try to, kind of have, my own craft
do your
session
yeah, you can do, your own 4 songs.
Yeah.
That's cool. Robert Price is always with us, as always.
Of course.
You could look at our sheets here for proof, man.
It says nothing but PML.
It doesn't even say that. Nothing but Blanco. We're just gonna wing it on this episode. Do we have a squash talks in there? Do you have the cup?
The cup's in here. Yeah, we still have
some
squash talks.
So we could probably bang out those 3 remaining. In addition to just talking about whatever comes to our mind. Before we even get started, we'll just say you guys can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at PML Show. Our episodes are for listening and for viewing if you guys want to go on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio every Friday. Midnight, to be exact. So definitely give us a follow. Tell your friends or family about us. Anybody that likes wrestling that you know. Obviously, we do talk a little bit of, beer, sports. Once in a while, we'll throw in there. But it's obviously our claim to fame, and our main topics are wrestling. So definitely tell wrestling fans all over the world. Dude, I know I sent you a screenshot. I guess we'll get right into the show. Of Survivor Series. I was like, tickets are $56 for front row upper level, and I was like, that's amazing.
It's not bad. You can see very well.
Of course, but now they're like $200. So I said, never mind.
Yeah, maybe.
Plus, your boy's getting steps in this week officially.
Oh, finally?
Confirmed.
Nice. I've been trying to get Windows installed for the last almost a year, and I had a new guy this week. Right?
Oh yeah.
I love contractors. God bless you guys. Work hard.
Oh, dude.
But it's just Monday. He's supposed to come over, and then. He texted me Monday at 5:30 because he does this work part-time, which is fine. I get it. I got the side hustle.
That extra cash, baby.
Hey, man, can't come over tonight. I'll call you tomorrow. No. I don't think he's calling, man.
Unless he's calling during the show, baby.
I'd be like,
special guest. Special
could
guest.
you put in these windows? Because it's getting cold.
I mean, I'll give him a shout out. Espinosa Construction. I played baseball with Joel. And Teeners.
Get his phone number from you as well.
Huh?
I might have to get your phone.
I'll pass over the info. That's no problem. But he was gonna do steps for me, and he's like, hey man, this project I'm doing, they're adding on. Can you push it back? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then I was like, all right, it's a couple of weeks. I'm like, I'll reach out to him. He's like, yeah, I'm still doing the project, whatever. And then last week he got back to me. He's like, I could do it this week. I could fit you in before my next project. He just posted pictures of the project that he did, dude. Amazing work. So
yeah, he used to come in the beer store all the time on the weekends, and he's a hardworking dude, man.
Oh, dude,
he
yeah.
can bust his balls.
Could throw a fastball too back in the day. I wonder if he could still throw it. Maybe I'll have him.
He
do
could
that.
slap a volleyball too. Cause
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah,
I played
he does.
volleyball
Yeah, I
with
forgot
him in high
about that.
school. Yeah, he's really good.
Completely forgot about that. So maybe I'll tell him to if he could throw an 80-mile-an-hour fastball, I'll give him 80. I'll be nice because he could. I think at that time he could throw close to 80. I was like, if you can't reach 80, you give me $300 off.
Boom.
No,
and you heard it first.
Yeah. No, I'm like it. No, he does good work. Espinosa Construction for sure. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, about Survivor Series. So I was like, yeah, I was a little upset about that. So it was a long shot. It would have been like a birthday present to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was in Barclays. But I just think that's just growing the intrigue of maybe the possible matchups that we might see with champion versus champions. Probably Big E and Roman. You think they throw in the blood? Like, you think they throw in the Usos and the New Day with it?
I think
do like
honestly,
a first ever like 3v3.
I think you could do 3 and maybe recruit 2 more on each side.
Oh, you want to do so without the brand versus brand, just do.
Yeah, like
because New Day's on SmackDown right now, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't be brand versus brand.
The New Day's on SmackDown. And
Yeah.
Big E's on Raw.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So Big E's still riding solo.
Exactly. Yeah, they went full-fledged solo on this.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see what happens, but I was thinking this could be like the first time. I think it would be cool. I think the Usos are a big enough name to join Roman. I think obviously New Day's almost bigger than the individuals with it. It's almost like the Shield right before they broke up. Like the Shield, they're good individually, like you know them by the name, but you just know them as the Shield, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Where I think when New Day was first formed, because they were all solo, you kind of still recognize them as like, all right, Kofi's Kofi and Big E's Big E, Xavier's Xavier. He was like I guess low man on the totem pole, I'll say. Like, you obviously knew he was a solo guy, but, like, he wasn't known like Big E, former IC champion, Kofi, former pretty much every individual championship before the title, the WWE title. So it's like, I think in, like, that 2016, 2017, they became, like, the New Day was bigger than their names, if that makes any sense. So I think you could definitely do a 3v3 on top of these traditional Survivor Series matches, so...
Or, I mean, this is how they set up to the triple threat match at Mania.
That'd be cool.
You have Big E on one side and then Xavier and Kofi on the other, and I think you make Xavier the heel.
I think Xavier could be a heel.
Or something to the fact that like it could work into the Rumble, and then it can work into a triple threat match at Mania.
I would like Kofi to win the Rumble. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that's just one thing because Kofi, I mean...
He's always had Rumble spots, like you said last week.
Yeah, and he's getting older. He's up there. I think, obviously, Big E's right now, and I think Xavier could be the future.
There you go, yeah.
So it's like that kind of like, not like the evolution, but like Kofi, I mean, he's been in WWE, since like 2006?
Yeah, look at you. Who said you're Mr. Year Off?
I know. I can't believe I guessed that right.
I know, me too.
So he's literally almost been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's done everything, and it's like, all right, man, how much longer you got? Because, I mean... He's got kids. He pretty much grew up in WWE if you really think about it.
Oh, 100%. I've always been a proponent too of, and they've done it the last couple of years of, I guess besides Edge this year, I just don't think Edge needed it. But I'm always a proponent of the Rumble should build somebody up to Mania, like they did that with Rollins for 35, McIntyre for 36, 34 they did Shinsuke, but before that, like who won at 33? Crap. Oh, I mean Orton. That was a cool win. Like I feel like there was like a little bit of a stretch where, like I don't want to say part timers, but like people that didn't need the Rumble,
yeah,
like were winning. If that makes any sense. I'm trying to think of when like who won. Like Triple H won it in 32. 31 was Reigns. Like I mean, I just feel like that was pushed too soon. Do you know what I mean? Like I just felt like. There was a couple of years where, like, the winner of the Rumble just wasn't successfully accepted or utilized, like you said. And obviously, I know you're not going to make every wrestling fan happy. I mean, if you're doing that, that means you're not doing your job. You have to ruffle some sort of feathers. But, like, I felt like the last couple of years they've done it right. And I'm saying Edge, I guess that's kind of like a hot take for me, but I just feel like some people did like it. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't think he needed it.
No, neither did I. I thought it was a cool pop to see him come back.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah.
I think they could have gave the title. They could have worked it out somehow else.
Yeah. And maybe just because, too, like, I just think that there's some names that are just, like, bigger. Like, for example, like, when Brett won it in when Austin won it in 97, I'm like, Brett doesn't need the Rumble. Like, because he was the last one eliminated.
Yeah.
I'm like, he doesn't need the Rumble. And, I mean, 98 and 99 were kind of stupid. Like, I thought nobody can compete with Austin in 98. Like, Austin had to win it. But, like, there were times where I'm just like, some people just don't need the Rumble, if that makes any sense. I can't think of any on top of my head after the one I just said. But, like, there are times where I just feel like people are above the Rumble. I feel like the Rumble should be, like, a platform to boost somebody into the main event.
Yeah.
Now, whether they win the championship at Mania or they actually end up winning the championship and holding it for a while, that can go with the, I guess, momentum that they build going to Mania and how the crowd kind of reacts to them. But I always feel like you should, like, if Kofi wins, it's cool because, like, yes, he was WWE champion, but, like, he wasn't, like, as soon as he lost it, he went back to mid-card.
Yeah.
So, like, if he wins the Rumble and you could build him to Mania to see how the crowd, like, kind of reacts to him, I think that would be, like, a good test to see, like, all right, let's see what we can do going afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it, too, because, I mean, you look at it, there's times and places where I think it'd be beneficial to, and I think, too, it's on the wrestler, once they win the Rumble, to, like, carry it to Mania, and then, because that's, people are either not going to poo-poo your idea, or they're going to like it. Because, like, I was thinking, too, like, just bring back the timeline a little bit. So, 2001, I believe it was, Mr. Perfect returned to WWE, right? 2002? All right, so it was a year off. Boom, said it.
You're back.
So in 2002, I mean, that was a big Rumble. That was when Triple H came back, won the Rumble, him and Jericho. What if Mr. Perfect won? Would you have liked that?
I would not have liked that.
Because of how he was at that point in time,
I just feel like
kind of a shell.
Yeah, it was kind of a shell, but it was also like, honestly, in a perfect world, I wish Angle won. Like, there's like it's gonna be
That's
so
a
weird
weird
to
Mania
see.
because that's the first time that I think the main event shadowed in a long time over
100%.
the World Championship.
100%.
match.
I completely agree with you. It's just weird to me, like, even when he eliminated Austin, that's the thing too with the Rumbles. I mean, I know we're going to Survivor. Like, I know we're coming calendar-wise to Survivor Series, but I love Rumble Talk too.
Yeah,
like,
so
it's
do
like my
I.
second favorite. Like,
It's
a lot of
my
people
favorite pay-per-view.
Is it your
of the year.
favorite?
Just because you don't know, and that Rumble match is my favorite match. Like, even when I'll sit down here every once in a while and play.
So even with the
2K20,
spoilers, right?
I just love playing it, man.
Yeah, so even with the spoilers that you read like days before, you're just like, I still want to watch it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just fun. You don't know what's going to happen in between. Sometimes the spoilers are wrong, obviously, but it's weird. Like, I feel like at the time, the momentum, like it's I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, if you follow sports, like, you know who's going to get hot right before the playoffs, and obviously that carries in. Like, you see that with March Madness or this, NFL playoffs or NBA playoffs. So it's like Angle, like, if you look at that 2000, 2001, so like 2000 was his first year, he knocked it out the park, but it was like, all right, he's still too new. I mean, nowadays with WWE booking, if Vince loves you the first week, you're getting shot to the moon. But obviously back in the day, it was you have to, give him 1 year and then groom him. So I just think that 2000 was a great year. 2001 put Angle on that main event level. And I either think he should have won the Undisputed title at Vengeance of 01 instead of Jericho, which is hard for me to say because I love Jericho winning.
Yeah, me too.
But I think Angle was at that different level, especially as a good guy. Then he went heel again. Like, I just feel like he should have won the Rumble since he didn't win the title. Or you could, like I've always said, you could have did a triple threat with Jericho, Angle, and Triple H, which I thought they were going to do because at that Elimination Chamber, that's new booking. At the No Way Out, Angle actually beat Triple H to become number one contender, but then somehow Triple H got the number one contendership back the next night on Raw. Made no sense, but whatever. So, like, I just feel like you have to time the momentum with how the crowd reacts, like they kind of did with McIntyre 2 years ago, and then just take it from there. And then obviously how they kind of react with you going up into that main event scene for the title is, all right, are we going to put the title on him? Okay, if we do, how long do you think the crowd will ride with him? Something like that.
Yeah.
So the reason why I say all that is to say, like, I think Mr. Perfect, he was gone so long ago in a wrestling sense. Like,
So maybe 92 would have been a better year for him instead of 2002.
Yeah, I always said 93 I think would have been perfect for. If you look at that 93 Rumble, dude, I think if you put us in that, we could have definitely raised the prestige for it. It is a hefty bag of a Rumble in regards to star power. Like, think about it. Like, Yoko, Undertaker, and Macho Man. And Macho Man. Like, they're the three at, like, towards kind of the end. And Undertaker's more in the middle because Giant Gonzalez does his thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I always said, like, Flair and Perfect should have been towards the end because they had their rivalry. And then, like, Perfect against Brett at WrestleMania 9 would be amazing, I think. You know what I mean? Like, or I always said you could do Brett versus Perfect at 9 to do, like, a rematch of their SummerSlam match. Especially when you're trying to take it from, like, the steroid era to, like, the wrestling era.
Yeah, and that was kind of, Mr. Perfect was, I mean, he was definitely on some HGH.
Oh, he was on those, those three letters.
But,
I always say the PEDs.
PEDs, the PEDs. But, I mean, at the same point in time, he was, like...
He could wrestle.
He's, like, 6 foot, not even, like, 5'9". He didn't look uber roided. He just looked...
He looked thick, I guess would be the word. But the thing is, too, is, like, since Vince was going on...
You drink and use steroids, that's what you look like.
Of course. I just feel like, I mean, you could either do that or you could have Macho Man run the Rumble because it's kind of crazy that he never really won against him and Brett.
Yeah.
Against him and Brett. Like, I think and then that's like a true passing of the torch of
old school, new
here's
school,
the
man.
generation era passing the torch to the new generation. You know what I mean? So, like, that 93 Rumble, dude, it is... Like, I'll watch it just because it's a Rumble, but that might be on one of the lists of, like... If I were to rank a Rumble, that's definitely like top 2 or bottom 2. Excuse me. It's
speaking of bottom 2 stuff. I watched 1989 Halloween Havoc over the weekend.
Who's the main event in that? Did you even finish it? I saw you were watching with Ken.
Yeah, we watched it for a while, but
okay.
I believe it was the Legion of Doom versus somebody.
Dude,
it was not good. One of the best matches I watched though was the Z-Man versus Mike Rotunda. That was an incredible match.
Dude, Rotunda's a technical marvel.
Dude, I was like, this is awesome.
Not really marvel, but he's good.
He was good. And I'm just
good.
like, in like 89, so 89 he's not, because I was like, when the hell was the IRS? And then I'm
IRS
sitting,
after.
Yeah, I was like, 90 or 91 he jumps over there. Mm-hmm. But like literally like in 89 he's just like wearing a wrestling singlet from Syracuse, like New York. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I just never saw that pay-per-view before, and honestly it wasn't bad. All they do is like mention Ric Flair the whole time. They're like, Ric Flair this. Oh, he chopped him. That's a Ric Flair chop. Like, it's...
Oh, because he owned NWA.
Yeah.
That's NWA, right? It's on WCW.
Yeah, it's NWA, WCW. Yeah. It's like
it's right before the merger. Before the merger, yeah. Rotunda was tag team champion, too, before he was IRS, which is crazy. Speaking of Rotunda, where's Bray going to go?
Dude, I saw on Meltzer's report that I guess... he had some issues with dealing with fame or something like that, and money maybe, or...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
there's a couple reports. People were saying that he was overweight, which is just mind-boggling to me because there's definitely bigger wrestlers than him. And then also he had like...
They worked with Strowman. Strowman got shredded.
Yeah. They were saying he has mental issues and stuff like that, especially with the loss of Harper or Brody.
I mean, yeah, that would definitely mess anyone up,
for sure. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing with the thing I've noticed, and I'm so happy there's like competition to kind of go with it to kind of prove. To me, I think Meltzer is so anti-WWE.
Yeah,
like
I
think
don't
since
like reading any of his stuff.
Yeah,
he's kind of in my opinion, I just think he's just. It's like
I definitely
he's not a wrestling journalist to me. He's just like kind of like he puts his 2 cents in what he thinks. It's not like, oh, I was interviewing Jerry Lawler last week and he said this. No, it's, oh, what I gathered from this. Like, I feel like our podcast is just as informative as the Wrestling Observer.
I can see that. I mean, the only thing is, I do think he gets like a source or two. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's narcs in both businesses that are just like, oh yeah, how about this guy? Because I got shorted on a payday or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So I definitely think there's a source or two that he has for each company or whatever company he talks about for that article or whatever. I do think he just throws his opinion in there, but at the same time, like, what paparazzi company or
doesn't
do that? You know what I mean? So it's like typical journalism.
They're
where
not ESPN. He's
not
ESPN.
Exactly. He's not like that to where he needs to give like a full credit. Like, he definitely has a source or whatever. I just feel like it's so swayed against WWE. Now, I could be wrong, but I just feel like ever since AEW's come around, it's been like, you could tell the difference. Yeah. But I'm never going to knock at another man's work or whatever, especially with all the work he put in.
Him and Bill Apter made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just writing wrestling news.
Definitely.
It's amazing, the subscription that they get yearly.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I'm always interested to see what Wyatt, or he might come as Wyndham Rotunda or whatever. I think it's Cult of Wyndham. He keeps doing a hashtag, Colta Wyndham or Colta Rotunda. I forget what it is.
Yeah, and he so what he replied to what someone said. He's like now that Bruce Pritchard, he responded to PWI or that's who it was. He's like now that Bruce Pritchard and
it wasn't Bruce. It was the two people that were talking in that article you're talking about. He's like now that they got their opinions out of the way, like here's mine. Or
yeah, because Pritchard would never talk to PWI.
Yeah, it was. You're saying Bruce. I keep thinking it's Bruce. I'm not sure who it was, but it was definitely to those people who were like not making up the article, but they're the ones that came out with the article, pretty much saying like they needed to fire him. WWE needed to fire him, but we'll see what happens. I do think wherever he's gonna go, I'm just interested to see the impact. I feel like he's the most WWE guy in like the modern era. Like outside of...
He's bigger than Daniel Bryan, I think, in CM Punk over the last 5 years.
Well, that's what I mean, like in the modern era, like outside of... I think like Moxley was. Like
Moxley was the biggest get, I think, for AEW.
I think Bray would have been if he didn't wait this long. And also, I just think like obviously AEW's year 2, Impact's kind of doing their own thing. So I just think that like when Moxley signed, it was just like, oh shit, like, all right, this other competition is like legit now. You know what I mean? So... I'm just interested to see what he says. A lot of people are still thinking that he's going to come back to WWE, and that would make sense. It's just another gimmick change type thing, because booking obviously poo-pooed on the Fiend gimmick, which was stupid. But I think he's one of the most creative.
I think that was the best gimmick since Kane.
It is. That's what I was going to say. Like, I definitely think Bray or Wyndham or whatever is the most creative guy. Like, obviously, there's been a lot of creative people. Like, I think Foley's always been creative. Like, to me, like, Foley and Jericho, I feel like Bray Wyatt's in this class. Jericho, Foley, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, like, right exactly now. But whenever they got a gimmick, Booker T probably, whatever incarnation, like, he had to do, you put him in a tag team, he'll make it work. King Booker, he'll make it work. Whatever you give them or whatever they come up with, and they're like, all right, it's on you, sink or swim, they deliver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Foley is the one that comes to mind the most, then Jericho, then Bray. So it does kind of suck that like his gimmicks that are so over with the crowd and he puts so much time into it, just booking just like, oh, you might get like 2-3 good months out of it, but after that it's like, all right, whatever. So it does suck, but I'm definitely interested to see what happens with that. But
do you think he would team with Harper or someone in AEW?
Harper's passed away.
Or not Harper, I'm sorry, Eric Rowan.
It depends. Like I don't know the shape that Rowan's in. I mean, when he was on Dynamite, he didn't look like he was in the best shape. But again, he also just got released. He wasn't really doing much. So like now, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to see if Bray would keep saying Bray just because that's all.
Whatever,
I know.
that's fine. That's cool.
Bray, Rowan, and Strowman if they ever come in as like a threesome, like that'd be legit.
That would
for
be
anybody.
really legit for anyone to get that, and then maybe even if you brought in. Bray Wyatt's brother, because he's also...
I forgot about that, Bo.
Yeah, Bo's gone. I think Bo's an incredible wrestler. Just
I agree.
Shitty gimmicks.
Dude, that's one of the things, too, right? Like, with creative. That, like, when he was, like, 12 and Bo, like 12 and 0. Remember that?
Bo leave.
Was that not, like...
That was our whole vacation down the beach the one summer. We're just like, Bo
That's all we kept doing to everybody, was just the thumbs up. And I think some people actually knew, but it's just, like... That's another gimmick type thing that, like... The first 2 times you see it, you're like, oh, that's stupid. But then it just catches on. And then all of a sudden, it just goes down the drain. And it's like, that's a perfect mid-card gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, he could literally go like 30, 40, or whatever, and then finally get like a U.S. title shot or whatever, and then go from there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know.
Dude, that could be, like, I'm surprised. I guess his non-compete's probably not up yet, but that would be incredible on the indies, being Bo Dallas, just
well, I
Bo
don't know,
leaving.
that might be a... likeness for WWE though, so he might have to change his name.
Yeah, that's true. And be like, come out to Don't Stop Bo Leavin'.
That'd be legit. That'd be 100% legit. That sounds actually, I was gonna say, because that theme song that actually reminds me of like a Halloween Havoc. It sounds like an NWA like thing that they would do like back in the day. I was just because you were talking about Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, I watched that one, and I watched.
We're talking about Rumble
'97 too, or whatever one Hogan faced Piper in a cage.
97. That's the. Have I not told you that's the worst ending I've ever seen to a pay-per-view?
That was the worst pay-per-view. That was, I think, honestly, I enjoyed the 1989 pay-per-view before, because another good match on that card is going back to that again was Brian Pillman versus Lex Luger.
Oh, dude,
Brian Pillman carried that match.
Pillman's amazing.
It was.
It's
amazing.
Crazy to see what Pillman was in his younger career and what he could have been if he didn't get in that car accident.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly have always said that I think Austin's first feud was going to be with Pillman.
It should have been. Imagine those two. Imagine him
As a
feuding
champion,
with
my bad.
Rock and everything else. Like,
Dude, yeah, his promos were crazy. He was so ahead of the curve. He was, like, I always feel like in 96, I mean, obviously he wasn't a wrestler, so maybe that's why he doesn't get credit, but it's like, I think Goldust, for taking that gimmick, was ahead of his time. And then obviously I think he bought into the gimmick a little too much, but who wouldn't
a little bit, yeah.
Who wouldn't want to do that when you're getting paid that much money? But I always say, like, Pillman and like, Austin, like, and it's crazy because they were tag team partners 3 years before, you know what I mean? But, what was I going to say? So, we're talking about Rumble. What do you, for the big four for WWE? You go Mania, SummerSlam, Rumble, Survivor Series. Oh, speaking of Austin, you're giving that beer bat to yourself.
yeah, something like that.
Rank those four, like, in order. Not of, like, your favorite, but, like, what do you think is the biggest? Like, if you're in a creative room right now, and you have to write, like, 4 feuds, because you know, obviously you're going to go on points. Like, rank, like, 1 through 4, like, your biggest.
So I think the biggest pay-per-views is, and if I was just like a booker writing, no personal what I want to see, I think obviously number 1 is you want to get to WrestleMania. That's the biggest show of the year.
For shizzle.
And then you have SummerSlam, because it's like, this is like halfway to Mania. Okay. It's like halfway, let's build it up for the year, and then we'll start working in for that. And then I think Royal Rumble, because that's like the beginning of WrestleMania. And then Survivor Series, I think just because of the longevity of it. The pay-per-view's been around for, I think, it'll be 30 years this year, or like 27, something like that. So that's like one of the company's first big pay-per-views. And I think there's just a lot with that, because it doesn't really build up, but you start to see the main players are going to be in the main attractions in the next couple of months. When things are, I think that's a feeling out pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So obviously I think it's 4, but that's where I'm at with it.
For me, I mean, I guess I would agree with you, especially what the last couple of years have went. I think in a sense, if I were to go back a couple of years just to go away from you a little bit, I think I'd go Mania, Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Obviously, they all have their importance, pretty much the way you listed, but I definitely do think because of, like, the stadiums, like, obviously they kind of hinted at it with Las Vegas being the SummerSlam, and then Raymond James being WrestleMania, so you're thinking of the stadium shows being the big shows for SummerSlam and Mania. But I would go Mania, Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. But the reason why I ask you that is because I want to go to the WCW side to throw it back a little bit. I always feel like it's Starrcade, Halloween Havoc, Bash at the Beach. I really don't know their spring one. Like, I know they used to have Spring Stampede, Uncensored was a big one. But I really don't know if they have, like, a spring one. Like,
what do they have the motorcycle show for?
That's Road
Wild.
Hog Wild.
Yeah.
I think it was Hog Wild one year, then Road. Or maybe it was just always Hog. Yeah. I forget what it was. But that used to be their August pay-per-view.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that happened during Sturgis, because they literally had it at Sturgis.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, I think Spring Stampede, that was their March one, I believe. Or that might be their April one, and then Uncensored was the other one. I forget their May. Why am I forgetting all this? Slamboree? Anyway, let's go with those 3 right now. Because I know for a fact
Clash of the Champions, you say that?
I didn't. That used to be, I think, in the 80s, but then they turned into, like, a TV show, kind of like what they're, like, I'm assuming, well, Clash of the Champions was almost like the Saturday Night's Main Event. It was like their once-a-month, like, show type thing. But in the 80s, that was an actual pay-per-view, I believe.
Yes.
Or close to it. But if you want to throw that in there, you could just so it's 4. But, like, I would go for pay-per-view purposes, Starrcade, Bash at the Beach, and then I'm drawing a blank, Halloween Havoc. Out of those 3, what do you like, whether it's visuals?
I mean, Starrcade, I always think Halloween Havoc's the best, I don't know, I think they're the best visually and the best wrestling shows.
Okay.
I feel like Starrcade, they try too hard. And Bash at the Beach is just like, it's a good show. Yeah. So I'll put Halloween Havoc as 1, Starrcade 2, and Bash at the Beach 3. Because, like, going back and look at their booking, it's just like Starrcade's booking was never good.
It was, I think they had the most potential. I just feel like the booking that day, like, I don't know if somebody was a little hungover, somebody had a little too many of these ales, whatever.
Like, me, brother.
Or a lot of that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just absolutely insane.
Because honestly, the opening, like, it's a crazy thing with WCW. Their openings of their pay-per-views are great.
But dude,
I watched
100 times better than the main events.
Yeah.
100 times.
I watch WWE shows or WCW shows like all the time. I'll throw on an old WCW pay-per-view.
Insane.
I'm like, this is amazing. And then I'll skip around a little bit, or I'll watch it over the course of a couple of days, and I'll get to the main event and be like,
yeah, what the hell?
What?
Like, what did the booking happen from match 1 to 6?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? So we take a nap?
Because the storytelling, it's not just the wrestling, it's the storytelling involved, and everything else. Even the backstage interviews are good with me. Like, even when you have Mean Gene there, or Tony Chimmel, was he? No, he was a ring.
Tony Schiavone?
Tony Schiavone, yeah, he did backstage interviews, and then like the back and forth with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and like stuff like that. I was like, this is amazing,
dude.
And then it's like you get to the main event, you're like, what? That's
how you know. And I've always said, like, I remember I was watching the very first edition of the Monday Night Wars, the DVD that came out. I think it was 04, 05. I might be pulling a U, so I could be wrong. But like Foley's always like, I never really worried too much in '97, even though like our business was down, like financially for them. He's just like, I always thought we had the better product, like from starting of the show to the end. Now he's talking about '97. In '96, I think that's what he didn't say it because obviously he's employed by WWE. But I mean '96, dude, like it was as bad as the endings for WCW were, and as hot as they were, the endings were still terrible. WWE was just worse. But then in '97, it ended up getting so much better, and I just for some reason they just didn't make the turn. And WCW still had the shitty endings, and I just think it finally like '98, it just people were just like, all right, like it's WWE's finally like kind of caught up. Even though if you just watch, I mean we have the network now or on the Peacock, so you could watch like 4 pay-per-views for WCW in '97, and then watch like 4 from WWE. And WWE's are better to me. Like,
yeah,
you might have a match or two that in WCW that might be better, aka the cruiserweight matches, but they're not much better than a Bret Hart match, if at all. But then obviously take the other 5 or 6 matches that are on the card, and you're just like, oh my god, the endings are better, the storylines are better. Just the endings to WCW, dude, are just awful. That's why I got so scared with AEW and the death match, the explosion match.
I don't like that. Like,
it was just like, all right, like hopefully that doesn't happen again. But obviously, you got the last pay-per-view. What was it, All Out?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get the next one too.
Yeah, Full Gear, and Full Gear on paper looks good so far. I mean, at least the build up to it, and then All Out. Obviously you got it. You told me it was great. Reception of it was great. Even the reception of, I forget what was it, Revolution? What was that pay-per-view? The one that obviously with the bad ending. But anyway, up until that point, even that match was good. So, but again, it's just like a movie. Everybody's always going to remember the ending, right? Like that's the way I look at it.
That's the way I look at it too. That's a good way for sure, because like you're going to walk home, you're going to be like,
what was the last thing you saw? You saw a shitty ending.
Because even I'll say WWE's finishes at the end of pay-per-views, I think they're better than AEW's now too, because honestly, when I watched that pay-per-view, the end of it was Daniel Bryan coming out. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like the best match is that Pentagon and Ray Phoenix match versus the Young Bucks. It was the best match probably I watched in the last year.
Yeah, he told me, yeah.
But I mean, at the same point in time, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, Daniel Bryan, but like I'd rather just see like a good finish. Like good, right? Like that's good. That's good for a Dynamite or a Raw or SmackDown.
That's also WCW booking, because if you watch Halloween Havoc '96, after Hogan beats Savage, immediately right after Piper comes out for no reason.
Yep, and that starts the feud for the next year.
Yeah, and then the ending for that is even worse, because they don't even end on like a physical altercation. They argue, or they're arguing as the cameras fade into black. So it's like, all right, like what? Obviously they missed the cutoff, so it looks worse. What happened? You know what I mean? Like so. I do agree with you. Like, I'd rather like Daniel Bryan maybe come out and debut like the segment before the main event, because that's cool. And then obviously whatever the match is the match. But I don't like comparing AEW to WCW, but I just get that vibe. And it's just weird, right? Like they're on TNT like WCW was. Like Tony Khan's like outspoken like Bischoff used to be. Now him and Bischoff are beefing. Stupid.
That's kind of funny.
It's funny. I mean, they both have points, so like whatever.
And Bischoff gets mad, bro.
Oh, dude.
Like even like I listened to his podcast here and there. Like one time, it was said in the Observer that Bischoff threw a cup of coffee on Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
And literally, like, Jeff Jarrett, like, literally said it was like this. Like, he went, like, what the fuck? What the hell?
Yeah.
And just, pushed the thing, and, like, a little coffee got him. It wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
And, like, he snaps. Like, I was like, I wish he did this all the time. I listen to this podcast more.
Well, he does flip out a lot. It's crazy because...
him and JR get so pissed. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. My bad for that. Put that on the phone. Or on the notebook. But, yeah, he's been complaining about Tony Khan a lot, too. But, I mean, I will say, Khan has been outspoken the last couple weeks, and he just hasn't delivered. But results, for what he's been hyping up. Like, if he doesn't say anything, it's good.
I mean, I don't think anyone will ever be better than WWE.
They're just too solidified.
It's such a brand, like, all over the world. Like, people in where were they at? Just Saudi Arabia?
Saudi, bro.
What's the name of this town?
Dude, I
don't remember it.
No, just say Saudi Arabia.
Right, people in Saudi Arabia who literally, like, hey, good for them. They didn't have TV 20 years ago in parts of their country. And now, like, what's the first thing they discover? They don't discover Cheers or Happy Days. They're watching pro wrestling, and they like the current product. Like, they're literally singing along to, like, Randy Orton's music. That was the best crowd I saw in pro wrestling in the longest time. For that crowd. It was a good crowd, man.
No, for that crowd. I was like, Vegas and Mania was pretty lit. So.
Yeah, well, that's too, yeah. There wasn't a lot. Those people haven't done anything in 2 years.
Yeah, no, of course.
But, I mean, those people, like, in Saudi Arabia, I just think I don't think they would care. They're like, it's not WWE. I don't care. So
you're right. It is the branding.
I don't think they'll get the. I don't think AEW will ever get the world recognition WWE has. But I think AEW could do really good in Europe and do really well in America.
I think they can do Europe, Japan, and
Mexico.
America. I guess in Mexico.
I guess you would say like we're a lot of like wrestling breeds. Yeah. Wrestling breeds big in Mexico.
Yeah.
And they have great luchadors. WWE doesn't have good luchadors.
Nah.
I mean, they have Mysterio, but that's it.
That's it, dude. Nowadays, you need more, unfortunately. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, maybe back 20 years ago, yeah, you're right. Like, one can hold the fort, especially like on a marketing scale, but I do think, like you said, like Phoenix and Pentagon, like those two can cover for Mysterio's losses in another company. Like I said, I think AEW is on the right track. I just think that the thing I hate the most is if it's like you and I are doing, I'm brewing, right? I'm doing what you're doing. You're obviously way more experienced than I am. But I say, I'm not trying to compete with Malloy, but I guarantee you we're going to beat you. I guarantee you I'm going to beat you. It's like, oh, wait, I'm not competing. I'm not going to compete against you, but I'm trying to beat you. So, like, I hate when, like, the roster is like, oh, yeah, we're not trying to beat WWE. We're not trying to beat WWE. We're just trying to give everybody another avenue for wrestling. But yeah, you have Tony Khan like a week later saying, oh, we get to go head-to-head with them for a half hour. We're going to destroy them. And then you don't even come close. Yeah. Oh, look at the 18 to 49 demographic, and you still lose. Or you win by like 0.1%. But it's like, that's the thing I don't like. It's like, listen, if you're going to say you're going to compete with them, either say it or just don't. And just let everybody just kind of understand it and leave it like that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's the way I think about it, too. It's just like, as Jeff Jarrett said about TNA, it wasn't the second company. It was just an alternative.
Yeah, and like that's the thing.
TNA was good, man. Like I've been listening to his podcast a lot. And I've been like watching old videos on YouTube. And me and my brother actually used to watch TNA a lot when it first came. When it first came on to
Dudley for a second.
Dudley. Get the tables. do.
Oh, there's our theme song for the day. The theme song for the show.
All right, slap nuts. So, like, me and my brother used to watch that all the time. Chris Sabin was probably, like, one of my favorite TNA guys. But they had a really good product. But they weren't braggadocious about it. I just think...
Well, they did once Bischoff got there, which is why it's so funny that... I mean, it obviously went down the shitter. No pun intended.
It went really, it was terrible. Don't ever put Hulk Hogan in responsible wrestling company.
You can't. You just can't, dude. It's unfortunate.
This is what you do.
He's such a huge, impactful talent, but you just can't.
You literally should just show up, pose,
and leave.
Or
at least go backstage. I always compare, like, Hogan to Michael Jordan. Like, they're the biggest names probably in their sport ever. But like Michael Jordan was so gifted, so like when he drafts people, like he expects them to be like him, and then they're just bust, I guess.
Yeah.
But then like Hogan's just like, oh, let me go back. I mean, Jordan at least drafts him, and he can't do anything. Hogan goes to wherever company's like, I'm taking over.
I want creative control.
I'm putting myself in
give me
everything.
$1 million.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but I just always think of like the success of like once Hogan tried to go into the backstage realm of like creative control and all that, it's just like it just didn't work out. That's why we can go into the squash talks after. I was thinking about it when I got home. I know you always bring up the Judy Bagwell on a pole match, right? And we always like say bro to like for the Russo, like bro like that. I actually say the word bro like normally, but I want to stand here and I want to divert that blame to Vince Russo. Because, speaking of Halloween Havocs, I don't know why this came up in my head when you said it, but I was thinking, in 95 Halloween Havoc, obviously Vince Russo's not there, right? But there was a monster truck match with the Giant.
The Giant died.
And Hulk Hogan, and the Giant dies, comes back to wrestle later that show, and then the Yeti comes out and humps Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
There was no Russo there, dude. So I just think that goes back all the way to this
Who had
endings.
the book then? Like, who was...
I don't know, man.
It was Bischoff. He had...
Who's in the main event, dude? Hogan. That's probably who had an input.
Hogan's like, hey, brother.
I want to get humped by two giants so I can come back at Starrcade and win.
I had some beers with this guy. He calls himself the Yeti.
Yeti. So I just want to, divert some of that booking blame of Vince Russo because it was done way before he got there.
And he did a marvelous job during the Attitude Era. And he did well, I think, with TNA.
So I mean, has he had to put, has he had some percentage input in that destruction? Of course, a.k.a. Judy Bagwell in a pole match.
Yeah.
But was there some crappy ideas done way before him? Facts. Big facts.
Hey, it's Vince Russo. Share our show on Facebook.
Yeah, man, we're trying to show you love, man. Show us some love. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at PML Show. And we are live on YouTube and Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio every Friday. We'll say 12:01, so it's technically Friday.
Yeah.
But let's do these squash talks. How many do we got left? 2? I said 3 before the show, so we got 2 left. I forgot we had to get rid of 1. Because you put the same question of what we were covering.
Yeah, that was stupid.
You go first, man. Do it. By the way, I wasn't trying to shit on WCW. I was just trying to... Jesus.
I'm not going to take that cup with us.
I was just kind of explaining the ideas of how you can kind of end a good show with a bad ending, and it kind of like just puts a sour taste in your mouth. And why did we even talk about that? Oh, because you brought up... We did all that because you said Halloween Havoc you watched. How did Kenzie like it?
Dude, she loved it, man. I think she just likes the colors.
She likes the quick cuts and all that, right? That's why I always saw
the Legion of Doom, though, was on it, and she heard the music, and she got all hyped again. So I definitely think LOD is her favorite tag team.
That's legit, dude.
That warrior hype.
Next year for Halloween, it doesn't have to be actual Halloween because I'm assuming you're gonna do like a family costume dress up, and so will I. But maybe like the week before, you and Kenzie should dress up as a tag team.
That'd be awesome.
And then me and Sierra, or Sierra and I, to be proper.
Shout out to some of our friends on Facebook who were wrestlers for Halloween. They did a stand-up
job. They
did,
dude.
Chad did a good job with the Legion of Doom,
yeah.
and John Yakis did a hell of a job being Steve Austin.
Yeah, dude. It was legit. Yeah, shout out to you guys. That brings back the good old memories of me being The Rock like 3 times.
I was Randy Savage and Mick Foley.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hankey.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do next year, dude. You and Ken's as a tag team versus Sierra and I as a tag team dressed up. I'm going to buy like the... actually, I still might have them. I might have like the Raw tag team titles, like the Styrofoam ones.
That's
when
awesome.
We did a trampoline league.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we're going to battle for it.
Oh, man. Maybe me and
winners.
Mackenzie can be Hurricane and Mighty Molly.
Oh, there you go. You can do like a mix. You can do like a wrestler manager thing. That's cool. You either do a tag team or a manager wrestler combo. We'll decide. We have plenty of time to discuss.
Plenty of time. You guys can be Eddie Guerrero and China. That'd be great.
Wow, dude.
What?
Were you trying to get racial or what, dude?
No.
No, I can't. No, I do love me some Eddie Guerrero, but I can't really dress up like him. I mean, I guess you could, right?
I mean, you could grow a sweet mullet, I'm sure.
Dude.
You have a lot of hair.
I do.
I have a lack thereof.
Does Eddie Guerrero have gray hair, dude? Nah.
I mean, probably after Vicky wouldn't get up that ladder, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, after she messed up the botch. Yeah, you're right. She didn't botch the finish. What's the squash talk, dude? You already got to 13 minutes to read it. You already have your
I
answer
didn't even
probably.
look at it, really. I don't even know how to read. I just learned last week.
You just look at pictures.
I know. Pictures. Name a wrestler. Wait, hold on. I'm going to start over.
You really can't read, can you?
Name a WrestleMania match where the main event should have been changed to another match on the card.
Didn't we discuss this before?
No.
No?
And you wrote that because that's your handwriting.
Oh, so I guess we did talk about it. What's in this ale, dude? Molly?
Molly. We're on a podcast right now, so I think we're here.
Yeah.
But, so, again, for the fans, name a WrestleMania match where the main event should have changed to another match on the card. So
you had to pick two matches, obviously, from that same show, to be fair, where you're thinking that whoever was the opener or, like, third, fourth, whatever match on the show ended up being that, and it should have been the main event. The main event should have swapped. I mean, you just said it.
All right, well, I'll pick.
Okay, you're going right in.
I'll go one right off the top. So last year's WrestleMania, Roman and Lesnar opened the show, and then there was the women's title match at the main event, right?
You mean Rollins and Lesnar?
Rollins and Lesnar, yes.
Yeah, 35. So that's 3 years ago.
Yeah. So and then there was the women close out the show. I don't know. I think because WrestleMania was so long,
I was saying that's the anomaly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I would have liked it vice versa because I think that was like the best storied match going into the show.
The women's match or the
Rollins and Lesnar match. I think that was just like the Beast versus the Beast Slayer. That was to me, I thought that was a really big show. I'm a fan of women's wrestling and everything else at the current moment.
Right.
Yeah. Right. He's right. But
right.
I think honestly that could have opened the show versus closing the show. One more.
Oh yeah, go ahead, dude. Start the bullpen, which we're trying to change, by the way.
Okay, cool. I think WrestleMania 17, or 18. I'm sorry.
I already knew you were going to say that.
Triple H and Jericho could have definitely opened the show, and then had Rock Hogan as the main event.
Yeah.
However, I think that the opening match at 18 was Rob Van Dam versus William Regal.
Look at you, bro. You're like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, I try. I know a little bit about a lot.
I know a lot about little. Yeah. But as soon as you read that and you said you're going first, I'm like, you've always said that, so I thought that was going to be your first one. So to quote the bullpen lingo, you threw a little curveball at your boy when he brought up 35. Nice. But then when you said that other one, I was like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah, that was coming either way.
That was almost. I mean, that's if you probably take a poll. I'm sure a lot of people would say that. I'm gonna throw a slider at your ass. I think
Jericho Triple H would have said that too.
Well, they did say that, but Vince is like, the title needs to close. Old booking. I'm gonna throw a slider at your ass, dude. WrestleMania 11, Shawn and Diesel should have closed against the match of Bam Bam versus Lawrence Taylor. I just don't get that, dude. Like,
I agree.
Better story and better match is both for Diesel and Shawn. Like, you're talking about ex-partners, but they're not the last show. And then also it's a title, so old booking on top of that. It's just like, it makes no sense. Don't get me wrong, the match for what it was in 95 is not bad.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not a main event WrestleMania. And because you throw out two, I'll throw out another one. What can I say here? Let's go. I want to try to like throw like another sleeper. Now I heard this was supposed to be, so just kind of go back on yours with 18. Like they pushed for it, Vince said no. I'm gonna go with the match that should have ended and it didn't because of the health scare. But I think Rock Austin 3 at 19 should have closed.
I agree.
Against Lesnar and Angle. Again, WrestleMania 19 I think is one of the more underrated WrestleManias. So
it's like a good pay-per-view, man.
So like those last 4 matches are all amazing. Like Booker T, Triple H, Angle, Lesnar, Hogan, McMahon. That also could have been a little bit of a closer too, because that's from like you're thinking of 1983, that build up to obviously 2003. That's a 20-year build up. You could have did that one. But I just think Rock Austin, they're the two biggest names at the time. You could argue of all time. I know that's what Hayes said. Michael Hayes said that was supposed to be the closer, but Austin was on the hospital till the morning, so they didn't want to chance it in case something went wrong. You didn't want that to be the last image of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. But I'll go with that one. So.
I like that, man. I like that a lot. That's a good one.
All right. And I don't know why I'm shaking it. It's the last one. Last one for the Squash Toke.
Shake it, not stirred.
Jesus. Who wraps these up?
Bunch of
Oh,
rappers
my God.
dropping
Why do I have to
bars.
read your writing?
Way to read it.
Oh, I like this, actually, because I was actually going to bring up the steroid trial. Oops, a little bit of a rip there. My bad.
Rip.
What Dark Side of the Ring would you like to see? I'm assuming an an episode that they didn't do yet?
Didn't do yet, or something. Yeah, definitely they didn't do. What do you think about that? They go through a lot of weird topics, and some topics not so good. Some topics.
This is going to...
I think they just do it honestly for views. But
They do. That's what I was going to say. I think the Plane Ride from Hell one, I thought, honestly, was just purely for views. Not saying what happened was right or wrong.
No,
I'm just saying,
the only thing I want to say, though, about that was I'm
don't get
surprised.
us canceled.
I'm surprised. No, I'm surprised they just got someone who was there, who settled in court, to come on a podcast, because usually in a settlement you just never bring it up again.
No, you're right though. Christine brought that up too.
I don't know how that happened.
I told her maybe
those people got paid.
Maybe there's a deadline.
Yeah,
I was wondering the same exact thing.
because typically you settle out of court with someone.
Well, the one girl
you're
that
never
did
supposed to talk about
settle,
it again.
she didn't talk.
Yeah.
Like obviously the main stewardess was talking, but Christine brought that up to me because that was one of the ones that she watched with me, and I was like, maybe there was like you can't talk about it for X number of years in the settlement. Like I do agree with you. I was wondering about that. And I'm not saying that what happened was right or wrong. Obviously, I do think 95% of it
very disrespectful by the wrestlers.
To the females and the workers. I just think like I don't know why you have to do an episode about like people just getting loaded, like Goldust talking on like the phone or whatever. Like I'm like, all right, who cares? Like I'm sure that's been
drunk and he was upset about his wife.
Yeah,
if
like
any person.
I'm sure that's been done in an airplane a million times, or the fight. Now, obviously, if you want to talk about like the Ric Flair situation, all right, that's the dark legal side of the ring. I get that. But like all the other stuff, it's like it's all prank stuff that backstage at that time was.
Yeah,
I guess I don't want to say the word acceptable, but like it was. I don't want to say allowed because that would be acceptable, but like it wasn't looked at in a negative way. It was just being the boys, right? So
yeah,
like,
if I spiked your drink and you passed out till you got like Scott Hall was like, because even like what that lady said, I was like, if I knew someone was intoxicated and drunk, I would just be like, okay, sir, just
like it's weird, but obviously like the Ric Flair stuff, like that's obviously
that's bizarre, man.
It's crazy. So I mean, I do think that one was for views. The rest of them. I do like that they shed the light on like the lesser known wrestlers.
Dynamite Kid one was really good, man.
Dynamite Kid was awesome, and that's what I mean. Like the lesser known wrestlers, like for this generation, like obviously us wrestling fans know about them, but like if you're 10, 11 years old, just getting into wrestling, and then you're watching this show, it's like, oh, this guy was amazing, but then like look what happens with the after effects of like CTE and all that kind of stuff, and obviously the physical toll with he can't even stand, he has to be in a wheelchair. So, like, I wish there was some episodes offsetting. Like the good with wrestling, because there obviously is some good with it, I think. But at the same time, I've always tell my mom and like Christine, because I always like I willingly admit that I really don't watch news because I'm like it's negative. Like I always think news starts with an N, so does negativity. Like that's what's always going to attract viewers. So I say all that to say like I still watch the show because I like to hear about the personalities, especially like with the interviews and stuff like that. Like I like Jim Ross talking. And then on some episodes, it's different people that you really haven't seen in a while. But I do think, like you said, like some of them were for views. The main one I was thinking was The Plane Ride from Hell initially. And then I didn't watch the second to last one. The steroid trial one is really good, so watch that. Did you watch that one yet?
No, I didn't watch that. And then there's the other one, the Collision in Korea.
I did not watch that one yet.
That
I do
one
want to watch
is
that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I listened to like the podcast version of it with Scott Norton and Chris Jericho. And dude, oh my God.
I want to watch that one.
Like, and I'm not gonna ruin it for you. The only thing like that blew my mind was, imagine like you get to North Korea, communist country. You see all the bad stuff about the internet, like, Oh, that's not the time, not the internet. You see it on the news.
Yeah.
And we're like at nuclear war with them. So WCW decides, New Japan, and Japan's a great country. They're very similar to America, very similar views and everything else. So they're hated by communism and other types of government. So let's just go there. And Muhammad Ali goes, they're like, that's crazy.
It is.
And like, so Scott Norton's like, I'm trying to call my wife. And she's like screaming, you're out partying. He's like, no, I'm in this piece of crap country.
Dang.
He gets pulled into a room. They literally, like, he's like, I'm going to die here. That's it. He goes, they're like, why were you doing? Who were you talking to? He's like, my wife. Now,
Dang.
I kid you not, like, Korean people, like, over there, like, Scott Norton's a very large man.
Oh, okay,
They're
yeah.
very small people.
Yeah.
I would be afraid as, like, but hey,
They have the pull, though.
But
That's
Scott
their
Norton,
country.
he goes, like, that's what Jericho has. He's like, you're a very big guy. He goes, if you were in a room screaming at me, I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
He goes, so if I was, Korean, I didn't understand your language. You don't understand their language. He goes, I thought I was going to die.
That makes sense.
So, like, that's a crazy story. Like, I like seeing more stuff like that where it's, like, situations wrestlers were in, and it's just like...
That's what I mean.
Holy
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
how did
yeah.
that happen? Like,
not the stuff that they did.
yeah, not just, like, let's not bring out, like, everyone's dirty laundry.
the guy from,
But situations where I think it's, like, crazy. Like, this happened, and, like, because he was talking like Muhammad Ali, like, the Korean press, like, had all of them, like, going up this flight of steps, and Muhammad Ali's just boxing. He's, like, very deep into his, like, Parkinson's disease.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah.
I don't know, like, because Scott Norton's like, I don't know, did someone force him to go over here?
No, he probably just wanted to do it.
He
That's
probably
why
wanted the paycheck.
Yeah, of course. It's absolutely crazy. The Gino Hernandez one was good. I just thought about that one. The Luna Vachon one's good. The Gino was, I think, season 2. Luna was this season. But I didn't. And the one, the death match is the one in Japan.
Nick Gage.
Huh?
Nick Gage has one too.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. I watched
gross.
the Japan one with like the flaming like ropes and the electrocution pools or whatever. It was.
I saw it. I was like, ah.
It was good. The only clip I got scared of was that they showed the guy get paralyzed in the ring. They block it out in the intro, so I'm like, all right, cool. They're not going to show it. But then when it comes on like later in the show, they show it. He does a moonsault, doesn't get the rotation over. It was like their upcoming biggest star, and it was just like I was like, oh, why do you have to show that, dude? Like that got me like in the chills. Dude, it's scary. It's so scary. And then after that one, I think was the Luna one, and then a Canadian wrestler, and then the last one was a steroid trial. That was the finale. That was last week, and then the one before that was like Extreme Something Wrestling with like porn and street fight and depth like hardcore wrestling. So like New Jack throwing the guy, Vic Grimes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like off the scaffold, like that promotion. So I didn't watch that one. I try to avoid like those because I'm like, that's just.
I'm just not interested.
It's like it's the dark side of the ring, but it's also like a booker's idea. So it's not really a dark side of the ring. Like that's just an alternative of wrestling, if that makes any sense. So like, especially when you're throwing porn into it, like that's obviously not the dark side of the ring. That's just a booker's creative direction.
It's just like if you like rock and roll music, and it's like all heavy metal, you're like, yeah, I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like a lot of that stuff. But I would like to see.
Yeah, let's go into what we actually want to see.
I would like to see a little bit more like on maybe some indie guys like that didn't die in the ring, were just like people who like this is their lives or something like they still have full-time jobs, they still wrestle in the week, like the life of an indie wrestler. Like, kind of see, like, that side of it because
it's
like,
actually, I mean, that's the, I know
like
what you're saying. It's not an intentionally dark side.
No, it's just like you train all this time, you work out all this time, you drive all these miles, and you get paid $5.
Yeah.
And I think you get to see some, like, I think people will get discovered from that. Like, you might see people you never heard of before, and you're like, someone might be watching that and get it out there. You could see, like, even, like, indie wrestling fans are different than WWE fans.
Yeah.
They're,
100%.
Like, I think that could be dude, you could do, honestly, like a reality series, like I'm a pro wrestler and put it on MTV and just like show the training, however, I think that would be a cool dark side of the ring.
I'd say you could definitely do like an episode or two of that. I feel like the same time that like what they're doing on Vice. First of all, I mean, I will say they do a great job.
They
with
want to show
illustration.
they're shitting on the product for the most part, but yeah,
they are, but they aren't though, because it's like stories. If you think about it, it's all hearsay, right?
The whole thing's hearsay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
because no one who's actually involved ever comments on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, if you think about it, is it really like? I don't want to say the dark side, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they do a good job with the rumors or the fairy tales, like the.
Yeah, because
I
like
think
the
so.
New Jack
When something is like here and then it just blows up each year, like just gets bigger and bigger, like the fables.
yeah,
They
the
just
fable
grow
is
and grow
bigger
and
than
grow.
what actually happened.
Yeah, so I just feel like they do a good job with that and illustrating what could have happened. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I guess in that sense, like for the entertainment purposes, they do a great job. That's like a more documentary thing that you're trying to, like what you're expressing, which would be great. I just don't know how many views you could do with that with like 12 episodes, because people would be like, oh, I definitely don't want to wrestle then. You know what I mean? You have to like love it to do it. But for me, I do like that they pick people that you don't really know about. Like, I would have never knew that much about Gino Hernandez.
I wouldn't know that much about Dynamite Kid.
It's what I mean. So, like, I do like those kind of, like, there's, like, top-tier level names, and then, like, right below it, I like the below, like, names. So maybe a couple of those again. I just can't think of a name off the top of my head. Like, to me, like, so here's one I would like to use. Like, I think Rick Rude, by the way, because, like, outside the ring, I heard he was a douche, like, trying to pick fights with everybody and stuff like that. So I'll just say that for, like, what they're doing right now. But on a good guy scale, I never heard anybody talk bad about Ray Traylor, who's the big boss man, and then Mr. Perfect. Especially with all these little prank stories that they've been doing, I think that Mr. Perfect will be a great one to hear about. That just brought me. I just forgot about pranks. Like Owen Hart's was a good episode, but
Owen Hart's is probably the best one because it just had a tragic ending. That's all.
That's what I mean. So like, I like the ones that like if you don't exaggerate it so much, but like you could obviously tell stories that you've heard about. Like I like those.
I'd like to see even like Iron Sheik. I know they like the Iron Sheik documentary, but they could do I think a little bit more about his like WWF background and stuff like that. And then you could show how he got addicted to drugs and stuff. But he has a good story. He's in a good place now, and it's like because not everything in the dark side just has to be dark.
That's what I was gonna say. Like you do that, like even with Jake Roberts, like all that kind of stuff. Which I know.
Yeah, because they did like 2 parts on him. They did one about his father.
I would say they did one on his dad. Yeah. So like stuff like that to where it's like it's not all 100% negative, and they're not negative in a way that's like it's directly towards WWE. I mean, like you said, Collision in Korea is WCW. So I'm glad that they're also doing other promotions outside WWE.
Yeah, even TNA. I'm sure there's some good stories back there too.
Yeah. So I mean, those are some things. I do think that they're going to get another season because I do think it's growing. It's
that show's huge.
That's what I mean. That's the thing that's cool about it. Like they also have one that's Dark Side of the '90s. And then they have one that's Dark Side of Football, so it's kind of cool.
I'll have to check that out.
I never watched an episode of those, but I do see those like on my guide.
Yeah, and they're on Hulu now too. They went from being on YouTube, like Vice grew so much as
a network.
Yeah,
it is crazy. You're right. So I mean, I do like them. I do think sometimes it's a little too negative, but at the same time, that's what's going to create the views, and that's also pretty much what most of the world is at this point. Yeah. But that's why we're so positive here, even though we just shit on WCW for about 25 minutes. But at the same time, we did say that they had good matches.
Hey, we gave them views. They got ratings this weekend because of us.
You're right. But we did say they had good matches. It was just shitty endings. And hopefully we don't have a shitty ending right now. That's why we're going to wrap it up.
All right, see you, bye.
Right. Peace. Enjoy your weekend. No, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at PML Show. And then YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. Fridays, 12/1201. If you guys want to listen or watch. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you guys ever want us to cover a topic or a pay-per-view or whatever, hit us up, shoot a comment, message, anything like that. We like to, do those if we're not just winging it like we just did and not shitting on 5% of a pay-per-view card. So, hope you guys...
I gotta say, though, before we close the show, this is probably the most wrestling I got to watch in, like, a few weeks.
Hey, the show's back, dude. We got to get on our, P's and Q's, you know what I mean? Got to cross the T's, dot the I's, you know what I'm saying? So, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Rich Lopez, Tom Malloy, Rob Price always with us. Until next week, as always, peace.